humans, and welcome back, or welcome to the first time you're here on my channel. All right, we are going to deep dive into this comet that is coming into our solar system. I love when everyone freaks out online that it is going to be some sort of hostile invasion. Funny enough, we actually saw this with the last sort of interstellar comet that came into our solar system. And I think there's a lot of speculation. And every time aliens are mentioned, or there's a scientist who maybe throws out the possibility that there's life out there, they are totally ridiculed, and then everyone just jumps to the fear-based, um, timeline. So we're going to straighten all of that out today. It was actually really interesting because it's actually not a comet. So we're going to get into that, and also I'm going to get into how I know that. Um, but I wanted to actually first just start off by talking a little bit about the alien UFO community. So I want to say that I never wanted to be the alien girl. Okay. I never wanted to talk about aliens. I never wanted to mention my abduction. I never wanted to discuss publicly what I was experiencing privately, specifically because of the bullying and the ridicule and how absolutely crazy it sounds. And it just sort of happened that that was the thing that I went out on a limb and I talked about. Actually, the first time I was talking to a woman at a spiritual conference in Toronto, and she's like, "Wow, like how do you know all this stuff?" And I said, "Well, don't tell anyone." Not that there was anyone to tell, um, but I actually talk to an organization of extraterrestrial beings, and they give me a lot of this information. And then, of course, I go to different dimensions and different sources to gather the rest. And then I sort of cross reference that information, and I come to a conclusion, right? And she's like, "Oh my goodness, well, I actually host this other conference, and it was the Alien Con Toronto, and I need you on my stage. We don't have enough young female voices in this field." And so, despite me not wanting to talk about it and not wanting to get into it, that's really what kicked off sort of my public, outward facing sort of self within all of this. But I want to talk about this for a second because right now we have a lot of people in the ufology and extraterrestrial space, and what I find so fascinating is that a lot of these experts are either of the mind that all extraterrestrials are evil and hostile and bad, which I think in my mind, great. Like I could definitely see that perspective because they feel different, or they feel like maybe they have more technology or they're more developed and so they're a threat, right? And then you've got other experts in this field who say, whoa, 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 we've got it all wrong about extraterrestrials. They're all good. Just all of them are like loving and kind and they just want our best interest. And if you've been on my channel for long enough, you know that I don't really belong to either of those camps. I am a huge believer in polarity. I'm a huge believer in frequency and spectrums. And I truly understand that everything in this universe is on a spectrum, and we, as organic, individual, experiencing beings, have the ability to explore, experience, observe, and subjectively get influenced by that spectrum. And I believe the same in extraterrestrials. There are good, if we're gonna bucket them, there's good humans and there's not so good humans, and it's the same out there in the universe. So that's my mindset, right? There's good and there's bad. I mean, it actually boggles my mind that anyone would say that they're all bad or that they're all good. Like it just feels like the most limiting statement you could ever possibly make related to an infinite amount of species and an infinite number of extraterrestrials in the universe. Like it really it blows my mind that we've got these experts that are either in one camp or the other. And I understand why potentially they're in those camps, but it's wow, it's so limiting. So just keeping that in mind. And I feel like I had another point I wanted to make about extraterrestrials. Okay, I'll leave it at that for now. Um, I've always thought that the biggest conspiracy, the biggest cover up on planet Earth is the reality that aliens exist, that extraterrestrials exist, and that they have been interacting with human beings and planet Earth for a very, very long time. And just take a quick trip over to the History Channel, look at the show Ancient Aliens to get a little depiction of the artifacts and the sort of folklore that has been surrounding extraterrestrials um, for a very long time, right? So just keeping that in mind. Okay, cool. So let's talk about this comment that's coming in. And I'm just going to go over some of the sort of facts that are out there first, and then I'll go into what I've explored through my own abilities. Okay. So this is actually the third interstellar object in our solar system. Apparently in human history, but probably in recorded human history. So, like, what is that? It's a very short period of time that we've been able to, I guess, survey the skies long enough and with enough technology to actually observe interstellar objects. But it's just interesting to note. This object, it's called 31 slash Atlas, I think they're calling it. It has traits of a typical comet, but it's been speculated that it is an alien spacecraft due to its trajectory and its speed. There's a couple of weird things that don't totally match up, and so this is where all of the headlines are coming from. It's truly sensationalized, and people love to sensationalize aliens and extraterrestrials and UFOs and all of that. And I just think it's funny how they always sensationalize the ones that aren't as, say, like provable or definitive as some of the footage and the things that have been caught on planet Earth. Okay. And then last sort of fact I wanted to put out there, that it will be the closest to Earth in October, November of this year. And this is why all of the headlines are saying alien invasion happening in November, which once again, just totally sensationalized. And I always roll my eyes at those headlines. But of course, I want to know. I want to tap into it myself. Okay, so take or leave all of the information I'm about to give you. So last week, so typically when I want to know something, when I'm curious about something, I will just do my own remote viewing. That's essentially the core of my abilities. I'm a remote viewer. I'm able to consciously get out of my body and go wherever I want to go across space, time, and dimensions, which is pretty badass. And I truly believe that everyone has the ability to remote view. Most likely you're listening to this and you're driving and you're out of body right now, okay? All we have to do is focus long enough to understand where we are out of our body. So like I said, it's not something we have to try and do. It's just something that we have to focus on where we're at any given moment, all right? It happens very naturally. We're just too distracted to realize it's happening, okay? Please keep that in mind. I do have actually a small workshop where I teach people how to do this, how to get out of their body. It's called the Astral Travel Workshop. It's on my website if you want to go check that out. I put in all of my own sort of techniques that I taught myself from a very early age, and then I just got certified in remote viewing in a blind scientific military style of remote viewing, just to really prove to myself that I could do it, which is pretty cool. Okay, so that's how I gather information. Typically, I'll just go and check out the comet myself and I'll remote view over there. And yes, you can definitely do that. Last week, I had a meeting, a summit with the Galactic Federation of Light. Essentially, they're an organization of beings who are here to help us in our ascension. And I figured, why not just ask them instead of having to do the work myself? So that's where I gathered this information from. If you want to see the whole Galactic Federation meeting, just go check it out on my website. It'll be season 2025, episode 8. And it was really cool. Obviously, we talked about so much more than just the comet. But if you want the whole sort of live remote viewing experience, you can check it out there. So here is everything that I gathered from them during that summit. First, they confirmed that it was indeed a ship. Okay, so no, this is not just an ordinary comet or object. That crazy scientist that was speculating it could be intelligent life was accurate. Obviously, on his end, it was just a speculation, and he is getting so ridiculed for even speculating. But yes, the Galactic Federation confirmed it was indeed a ship. And they also confirmed that it was part of the Galactic Federation, not their main mothership, just another ship, I guess. So it is intelligent life. Now, I had to ask, there are so many ships in our solar system. There are so many ships in our skies, and most of them are cloaked. So, what's the difference here? Like my question was, do they want to be seen? Does their cloaking device not work? Essentially what's going on? Why is this one sort of recognized and noticed, and why is there all this talk about it when there are so many ships out there and yet no one ever talks about them, or I guess sees them on their radar? And essentially what they said was that they do have a cloaking device, but it's more of like a disguise that they're able to do rather than an invisibility, if that makes sense. Like many ships, like most of the ships, are able to cloak themselves out of our visible spectrum. And that's not just a visual thing, but that's a technology thing as well. Like they are essentially able to fly literally under the radar just because they've got this technology to cloak them. Apparently, this ship in particular, it's not that it necessarily wanted to be seen because it is still being cloaked, sort of looking like a comet on the outside. But apparently it operates in a lower density, and that makes it detectable by human technology. That was the response I was given. So I'm like, okay, cool. I guess that makes sense. There are intelligent beings on board. So I had to ask, what's the purpose then? Like, what is this ship doing in our solar system? Obviously the question, should we be afraid? Should we be scared? Are they gonna invade? Like all of the ridiculous things, but hey, good and bad out there. The purpose is kind of a little null and void, like really just not very exciting. All I got was that they're on a mission in the solar system to collect data, and they're just going to pass through without any sort of drama or intention of conspiracy or nefarious activity. They are literally just passing through. So, um, about 2 nights ago, I was in my backyard in Canada. So we have this beautiful property, and it was like midnight, and I was just stargazing, and I was seeing a couple of sort of orbs moving around. One that just literally appeared out of nowhere and then came across right above me, and I was like telepathically communicating with it, saying, "Hey, what are you doing here? Are you gonna abduct me? Do you have a message for me?" And they're like, "No, we're not here for you. We are literally just getting to our destination." And I was laughing, thinking, of course, it's the ego of the human who thinks, "Oh my God, you're here for me. Come on, pick me up, take me somewhere." And they're like, "No, we're just passing through, but thanks for seeing us." I just thought that was really funny. Anyway, yeah, and this is what this giant comet is doing. It is just passing through. It doesn't really have an Earth-based specific purpose or mission. It's collecting data. They didn't tell me what kind of data it's collecting, but it is intelligent and it does have intelligent beings on board. So really, there's nothing to worry about. All of those headlines are sensationalized. Something else that I thought was fascinating as far as this piece of information. So apparently, on planet Earth, there are higher. This is how they put it. There are higher authorities on Earth that are aware of the true nature of the comet, the ship, but are suppressing public knowledge of it. And then they said any scientists that's theorizing it as intelligent are being ridiculed for a reason. This is why you gotta just love conspiracy theorists, right? We question the narrative. We are totally bullied for questioning the narrative, and that's by design, right? Truly. And I'm a big believer in questioning everything, but I'm also very critical and skeptical, but I'm curious and logical. So I really look at everything from a curiosity lens, but I also take everything with a grain of salt, including what extraterrestrials, ascended masters, higher vibrational beings, even just my higher self has to say. So I want to sort of relay that to all of you as well, is it's important to be curious. It's really important to question everything, but it's also important to kind of, tune into that gut feeling. Does it resonate? Does it not resonate? Does it feel good? Does it make sense or not? And if not, no big deal. Just drop it because it's not for you in this moment, right? If you guys want to know more about anything about anxiety or mental health or raising children or, symptoms of being a star seed or understanding your mission or your cosmic origin or really anything else, opening your third eye, spirit guides, you name it, all of those videos are on my website. All right, you're not going to find many videos on YouTube specifically for a reason. Not everyone is ready for all of the content. So if you are curious, if you're awakening, if you are dying right now, if you are being reborn, then head on over to my website for more content. All right, guys. And definitely check out the full Galactic Federation meeting from last week. Check out the astral travel workshop if you're curious about that. And if you need a little bit of a pick me up and you're feeling really torn or you're going through a really big life change, I covered all of those big life changes just yesterday in my most recent coaching call. It is where I sit down with other humans from all over the world and I channel their highest possible timeline and their best piece of advice for what we can do during this time. So if you are one of those people who is in the middle of a huge, huge life change, pretty much everyone chosen yesterday is exactly that. They are in the middle of a big life change, and the advice that was given was just really impactful and profound. All right, so go check that out too. And other than that, guys, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and whatever other platforms I'm on. And definitely subscribe to YouTube if you want to see more epic content. Love you guys so, so much. Keep up the good work. Understand that everything is temporary. Try and find gratitude in every single moment. And I will be back next week with another one. Bye for now.